Welcome to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, brought to you by Pilma. This podcast helps lead lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Here is your legal marketing expert and host, Ken Hardison.
Well, hello, everyone. This is Ken Hardison, and welcome to another episode of Grow Your Law Firm. And today we have the honor and privilege of having Davina Frederick from Florida, who is a Florida-based attorney and also a business growth strategist. Davina, thank you for being with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me here. I love your podcast. I love to listen to it, so I'm glad to be here.
Great, and we're glad to have you. So instead of getting into everything, I just like for you to just tell us your story. How did you get to where you are today? And tell us all the things that you're doing, because I read your bio and you're a very busy lady.
Well, it's a long story. I realized the other day that I've actually been working for 40 years because my very first job I had when I was 16. So it's been a long career and very circuitous. And you know how when they show your arrow for success is not from here to here, it's more like here. That's kind of the way it's been for my life. I started out working, I had a career in marketing before I became an attorney. And I did that for about 15 years. I have a degree in journalism and I live in the Orlando area, and there's only one big newspaper in town. That's what I wanted to do. And so the odds of me fresh out of UCF getting a job at this newspaper were slim. So I got into marketing and I did that and became really a professional copywriter, working for a lot of service-based businesses, including law firms, engineering firms. And I worked for an agency for a while. And then along the way, I met my husband and we got married. And he said, you want to do something different, you can go do anything you want to do. And I said, well, you know, we've just got a new law school here that's been around for a few years. And now, it's accredited and everything. And so maybe I'll go to law school because I've always kind of had an interest in that. And I have a cousin who was an attorney and really loved it and talked with me about it. And I said, well, maybe I'll go do that. So I went to law school and I went with the intention of starting my own business because by then I was in my late 30s. And by the time I graduated, I was 40. And so I knew that I wanted to have, right out of the gate, I wanted to have my own business. So I started my own law firm in 2007, right out of law school. And I didn't know what I didn't know. And it was, I had a really good business development skills because I developed those skills in all those years working in professional services marketing, but I didn't know all the other aspects. And I didn't realize how difficult it would be to be a baby lawyer and, run a business at the same time. So I really learned the hard way, but I was successful, in growing it. I grew it pretty quickly and I brought in a partner. We hired an associate, we hired some staff, we moved to a bigger space. We were doing really, really well, but I was really managing the business. I was the senior partner, I was a litigator, and it was really, really stressful for me. And then some things happened in my personal life that compounded that. And I just realized that it wasn't, although I was monetarily successful, I wasn't happy in my life with where I was, and I needed to make some changes. So I took some time off, about a year or so, and I worked. My husband and I owned a gym, a high performance fitness training gym. And so I worked in the gym for a while and worked with him and kind of thought, took a step back just to think about what it is I wanted. I did start another law firm business, and that time I did it was in 2011, and I created a virtual law firm at that point. So I was really keep it small, keep it all kind of philosophy. I wanted it just to be more like almost like a part-time job is sort of my thing. And it was virtual before virtual was cool, before it was a thing. And I had a lot of pushback from people. I had people tell me, that's not going to work. Your clients aren't going to like that. But I knew I needed to build a situation that worked for me. And so I did that. And one of the things that I did differently was I got invited to a coaching function by a high ticket coach, business coach, and by a colleague of mine who was an attorney who had been an attorney for decades. And she invited me to go to this. And it just opened my eyes. It was like a life-changing experience for me to go and see there's a whole world out here like this. And I wound up signing up for that coaching program because I knew I was missing something in terms of how to build a sustainable business that didn't kill me in the process, right? Which is like the first one was on that track to do that. I didn't want to do that with the second one. So I signed up with that program, and I didn't get to my $1 million law firm with that program, but it led me to hire my next coach. The next year, I hired a one-on-one coach. And the first year was a program where I thought I was hiring this coach, but what I really got was that coach's sub-coaches, So I didn't really get as much out of it as I wanted. So I hired a one-on-one coach, and that really changed everything for me because she really helped me deal with a lot of mindset issues that I had around business and money and being the doer of everything and feeling like I had to do everything and be the perfectionist. Ken, what I'm talking about, because I know you talk to attorneys who are like that all the time, right? We think we have to do everything, right? And then that led me to my third high ticket coach, which was a one-on-one coach. And he really taught me everything about business skills and the power of leveraging and what that can do for you in your business. And so those experiences really led me to want to go and share what I had learned with other law firm owners out there, because I wish I had had what I teach now, what you teach. I wish I had had back in 2007 when I started my business. And there just weren't that many attorneys out there teaching these kinds of principles, these business principles. They don't teach you that in law school, right? So that's really how I wound up with where I am now in my business that I have today. I have my business is Wealthy Woman Lawyer, and it is focused on helping women law firm owners in particular scale their law firm businesses to and through $1 million in gross revenue. So that a lot of law firm owners sort of get maybe to that six-figure, mid-six-figure, high six-figure, but they have trouble sort of getting over that kind of $1 million hump. And the reason why is I think so many of us believe that the same thing that got us here is going to get us there. And it's completely different. And so that's what I've been doing for the last 8 years. I'm in my 9th year now of coaching other professional services businesses. And then I niched that down to focus just on women law firm owners a few years ago, because that's who most of my clients were, because they were attracted to me based on what I had done for my own law firm business.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm married to a lawyer, a lot smarter lawyer than I am when it comes to lawyering. And she heard your podcast or heard you or read something. And she says, Ken, you've got to get this lady on your podcast. She says she's brilliant. And
Thank you.
As always, she's right.
Thank you.
She is right. Which brings me to this thing. Why do you think, because me and my wife, Tiana, we talk about this a lot, because, she was like law review and moot court team. And, she was very, very driven and everything. And she went and worked with John Edwards, who was like the premier trial lawyer in North Carolina at the time.
Right.
So she got a cream job. And then I'm not her first marriage, but I'm the best one, right? Say the best, the last.
I say that to my husband too.
But, and then she started having kids, and it took a back seat. And I've noticed in Pilmo, we've got stuff, it's male dominated. It's, although we have some very successful women PI lawyers that are doing, 8 figures, that are doing well, but they are far and few between, I will tell you. And my question to you, why do you think it's like that? Because here's been my experience, and I'm just being honest. When I had my law firm, I had more women lawyers than I did men, because I felt like they worked harder and they were smarter. I'm just being honest. And I did. And I felt like they had something to prove, and they were going to show, they were more driven to prove. I got the right mindset, people, don't believe me. but I just felt like they did a better job. They were, maybe I was wrong, but that was my belief. But why is it that women, you don't see as many 7, 8 figure law firm owner women as you do men?
It's an interesting question. I think there's, like most sort of societal issues or whatever, it's a complex answer, meaning there's multiple reasons why and parts. One of the things I will tell you is I began my professional career in the 90s, right? And I worked before I became an attorney. I worked for a law firm that it was a mid would be considered a mid-sized law firm in marketing. And one of the things I saw there is it was just male dominated. The little bit of diversity they had came in with women who started sort of coming up and coming onto the partnership track. But they were talking about obviously all white women and white men. And I think when you look at um, a lot of if you go to just about any law firm out there and you pull up any large law firm, you pull up their website and you look at who the partners are, you'll see a lot of white men. And I think some of that is a function of the time and place. It takes many years to build a large law firm. So at some point, when a lot of these law firms started in, let's say, the 60s or 70s or whatever, and at that time, you didn't see as many women in the workforce. And over time, we have come into the workforce, but there have been a lot of societal structures that have not made the experience the same for women or for people of color, quite frankly, as they are for white men, because we have generations and generations of building something and the society is sort of set up that way. So I think that's one aspect of it, is that it takes time, right, for people to move up the ranks. And so part of my mission through my business is, I don't know if you read the ABA study, Walking Out the Door. It's about women and why they're leaving big law in their 50s when they should be really reaping the reward. And they're saying they're burned out because of lack of mentorship, lack of opportunity, lack of, compatible, the wage gap, things like that, right? So they're putting in the work and they don't feel they get the reward. So we have that. And for me, I'm a little bit of a maverick. So I've never had the appeal of working in a big law firm. I I'm a little bit of an entrepreneur and I believe in starting your business. And so for me, I'm kind of planting my flag and doing my piece to bring in women and to have them start their own law firms. And it may not be that they become national or multinational firms in this generation. It may be the next generation or the generation. But at some point, those big law firms were started by two guys who graduated from law school together and said, "Hey, bro, you want to go start your law firm? Let's do it." And they did it, and they worked there their whole career, and they hired people and they grew it. And that's how they did it. Women have not yet done that, but we're seeing more women now who are doing that. There are a couple different reasons why I think we're not seeing that as much. And that is one, that obviously there's a biological imperative, and a lot of women decide, I want to have children, and they don't really realize until they have children the impact that that has on the choices that they make. I know a lot of women law firm owners who I polled them in my group, and they said the reason I started my law firm business is because I have young children and I needed the flexibility and wanted the flexibility that I didn't feel I'd be able to get if I worked for somebody else in a law firm. So that's one aspect of it. What I'm trying to do is show them that you can not only have that, but over the long term of your career, you can also aspire to make a whole lot of money, and it's not as hard as you think it is. And I think the reason that women think it is hard is because high achieving women got to where they are because they push themselves to do and do and do and do and do and do. And they don't realize that to have a business and scale a business, it requires a different skill set than you being the one doing all the work in the business.
Yeah.
And so that's really what we're looking at, is if we can train more women on the understanding of business principles. Because if you take a young woman who's have a career and now maybe she's married and she's got a family, our society still has not gotten to the point where men are carrying a lot of the mental load that women are carrying. Even if men are doing things, women are still the ones who are thinking through everything that needs to be done. And it's just kind of how our society is driven. I do think we have a new generation coming up now that is looking at a different way. I see that a lot of my clients, they're the ones who are the breadwinners and the earners, and their spouses are the ones who are supporting them and taking care of children. And so we're seeing a little bit more of a shift in what that looks like. So I think over the next few decades, we are going to start to see more of that kind of thing. And I'm excited to see it. So some of it I just think is a matter of time taking place and these sort of societal shifts allowing a little bit of time to go by. What do you think?
Well, I think you're right. I think it takes time, but I think, and I think you hit on something really big, is that they don't think they can have it all. And I've heard people say you can't have it all, and I've heard some women say you can't have it all. But the deal is something you said earlier. You've got to leverage your strengths and delegate your weaknesses. And to really build a really successful law firm, I've never seen any successful business built on the back of average people. And I've never seen anybody do it by themselves. They've always surrounded themselves with really damn smart people that usually were smarter in the areas that they were weak. And I know what my weaknesses are. And I've always had really strong people to supplement my weaknesses. And I didn't try to get better at it. I just say, forget it. That's not my bag. I'm gonna go over here and work on things that I'm really good at, like marketing and networking and leadership. But the management of technology, I'm not dealing with it. I'm gonna hire really smart people, and I'm gonna empower them. I got to trust and verify. But something else you said at the beginning that I think is that we should be the biggest takeaway today is all this coaching you got and mentorship, because what that tells me is you're a continual learner. You're never satisfied with just
Always.
that. And that's where I see the most successful people. I'm that way. I just got certified as a John Maxwell leadership coach. Somebody asked, why the hell would you do that, Ken? You're successful. I said, because I didn't know. I want to learn more. I want to learn more so I could share more, right?
Right. I think when you find things interesting too, you and I both have a passion for business, in particular law firm businesses, but when you have a deep interest in something too, that learning is an enjoyable aspect of your life. It's something that you embrace and I can't tell you, like, who I am as a person is so different from who I was as a person in 2011 and 2013 when I started this business. I have changed so much, and I anticipate that I will continue to change. I'm probably going to listen to myself talk a decade from now and go, what kind of crazy stuff is that? But I think that's really kind of our purpose on the planet, is
you're growing. You're growing. We're all growing,
evolve, right?
Yeah, we're growing. You have to adapt. I don't even remember where I heard it, but it was something I was reading or listening to. They're talking about adaptability. If you're gonna, like you were saying, what got you here is not going to get you there. And
Right.
somebody wrote a book about it. I can't remember who it was. Several guys out there, and that's just the deal. I mean, you've got to adapt. I mean, that's another thing that I wanted to bring out that I heard you say that's so true is that you woke up one morning, and I don't know when it was. You said, I'm making good money, but I'm not happy. And
Yeah.
life's too short not to be happy. That's people always question me, Ken, you had a multi-million-dollar law firm. Why in the hell did you sell it? Because listen, I haven't made the money that I made then since then, but my life has been so much more enriched and I'm happier. I don't know. I just got up one morning and I said, I wasn't looking forward to going in. And if I got to do that, I'm not going to be miserable, if I can help it. And I tell my employees that. We just had our quarterly meeting, and I told all of them, I said, listen, if you ever get up in the morning and you get up and you're not looking forward to coming in, or, we're all virtual, but signing in or whatever, I said, let me know. I'll help you find a job because life's too short. I want you happy.
Right. I had a real health crisis kind of. I mean, I could really see the impact on my health of being unhappy in what I was in the day to day, getting up every day and working it. And fortunately for me, I made the decision pretty quickly that there weren't, long term ramifications. But I knew where I was headed. I knew where the long-term ramifications were going to be if I continued down that path. And for me, I'm a very sensitive sort of person anyway. So it doesn't take much for me to show up physically for me when something is out of alignment, right? And so I had those kind of cues and I paid attention to those cues. Now, it wasn't like I'm some genius that went, oh, this is what's happening and this is why I'm going to do this. This was a messy, messy middle. It was a messy middle. It was just a bad time. It was a bad time for me personally with my health. It was a bad time in my marriage. There were a lot of things that were going on at the time that caused me to make those choices. And, I look back and I'm grateful. I mean, I'm grateful that I had those. What do they say? When God whispers and when you don't listen, he throws bricks. It was that kind of moment for me. And so I can look back at it now and realize what was happening. But in the moment when I was in it, for those people who were thinking, well, I don't think that way. Trust me, nobody thinks that way when they're in the middle of it. It's really about reflecting on it and saying, what did I learn from a situation? I wanted to mention one thing when you're talking about strengths and weaknesses. I think one of the challenges that lawyers have is we think we're smarter than the average bear, right? Like just generally speaking, we kind of know that, and we are, right? We kind of know that if there's something that we need to know, we can go figure it out and we can learn it. And I think that's a wonderful gift to have, right? It is in nature of what we do. I mean, we help people solve problems, and that requires us to go figure things out when other people don't know how to figure them out. But when you're applying that to your business, what I think it works, it's the shadow side and the dark side of that, is that we think that everything that needs to be done in the business, we need to go figure it out. If I just had enough time, I could figure out how to design my own website. If I just had enough time, I could figure out how to edit my own videos. Everything that we do, we think to ourselves, if I just had enough time. If there's one takeaway that I would love your listeners to know and realize, and I know it's totally going to resonate with you, is that you are not the best person for every job in your business. In fact, you're probably not the best person for most jobs in your business. And I mean, have you had that experience?
This episode is brought to you by Pelma Super Summit. June the 27th through the 29th, you can come and learn how to take your law firm to the next level in New Orleans at the fabulous Ritz-Carlton Hotel. Contact us at pilma.org. That's PILMMA.org. Of course, and I tell people that. I mean, and I think that's the big problem too, is lawyers, we have, especially PI lawyers, have big egos. And I'm kind of, for some reason, I'm pretty humble, and I'll admit it. I don't have a problem admitting it. But yeah, I mean, I'm terrible at it. I tell people, listen, talk to Sherry, because I mean, I don't know. But I think that the deal is lawyers are kind of perfectionists. And one of my mentors said, good is good enough. I know you want to do your best job. But if you wait around till you get it perfect, you're never going to get any damn thing done. I'll just be honest with you. And it also causes this analysis paralysis that holds a lot of people back. But yeah, no, listen, I know what my two keys are. I'm a big idea guy and I'm a good leader. But the rest of it, and there's a lot of different facets to it, but I'm not that great at the rest of it. But those two things, I think I'll be maybe that's not being, but I think I'm good at those two things,
So I'm sure you've read the book by Dan Sullivan, Who Not How.
Yeah.
Who Not How. So we're going to save the listeners a lot of time. You guys don't have to read the whole book if you don't have time, because we're going to tell you right now what the message is. The message is, instead of asking yourself, how do I do X? Ask yourself, who can I get to do X for me? Who already has that institutional knowledge. They already know how to do the thing, and hire them to help you do the thing. That's the beauty of coaching, I think, is that this is not limited to coaching. I advise my clients to do this in their business all the time, but that's the beauty of coaching. Is the reason I hired the coaches that I hired is because I knew that I could short circuit my learning curve by hiring the person who already had the knowledge that I needed and having conversations with that person. That was going to help me get to where I wanted to go faster. instead of me trying to go and figure out the how of everything. But it's
Yeah.
the same way when you're hiring people in your business. Instead of saying, well, how do I set up this or that in my business? Why don't you hire somebody who already has that skill set and allows you to focus on the highest and best use of your time and those things that you're good at, like you said, being the leader, being the visionary, being the big idea guy, right? That's powerful. And that's really who you want to be if you're a CEO in your business. You want to be at that point where you're the person who is keeping and holding the vision and inspiring other people to follow it, right?
And
And all the rest of it, you can hire people to help you get done. That's how you really preserve your sanity and
Wanda,
enjoy your life.
hey, did you ever do Dan Sullivan's program?
No, no, no.
Yeah, see, I did that. And I'm telling you, it's like I've hired so many people like you. I did that between 2009 and 2012. It was a 3-year program, and then you go up. I didn't go up to the next level. I thought it was too expensive for me at the time.
Yeah,
I,
I have one of my coaches went through the Dan Sullivan course.
yeah,
So yeah.
and I've done do that, and I've been through the scaling up and the John Maxwell. But yeah, Sullivan, he's a genius. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, I got that book, and it's a short read, but it's like you said. Really, it comes down to it's got more pictures than it's got words. But the bottom line is just what you said. When you're trying to get something done, don't say how, say who, and figure out who the best person is. I created a thing called my network. My expert network of all the people that I keep it on my desk. And of course, I'm not computer, so it's on it's on paper. That's me. I'm
Yeah.
old for it, right? I don't use I don't use all the
I
technology.
got books everywhere in my, you
Uh,
can't see my
yeah,
bookcases. I've got bookcases and
yeah,
I also have the Kindle and the Audible and all of it. I'm a, a
yeah.
lifelong learner, like you said. So I do want to ask you a question if I may, because I'm curious to what your answer to this is. Because I know you probably have this conversation a lot. Do you find solo attorneys who are growing their practice will add staff, but they may struggle to hire that first lawyer, that they've struggled to hire lawyers? Because I know with a lot of women law firm owners, that's kind of a place where a lot of them get hung up. And that's really the thing that's the gateway and the key that opens you up to that next level is hiring other lawyers. But what do you think the reason for that is? I have my thoughts on it, but I was curious as somebody who's had probably more conversations about this than I have.
I had one 2 hours ago. I have a Q&A every month at Filma, and one of the questions was from a solo practitioner in Florida. How do I know when I need an associate? And the deal is, I think the number one thing that keeps them back is not the money it costs. It's that they don't think nobody will do it as good as them. And I really think that's the big deal. And then I think sometimes, I think there's a myriad of deals, but I don't think money's the number one deal. I think they're scared that if they hire somebody that's really good, then they're gonna have to pay them. Maybe they'll have to pay them too much, or then maybe they'll come in and take their practice away from them. Maybe some insecurity there. But listen, when I got out of cases, I made more money than I ever made in my life, and it was the hardest thing for me to do to let go of. And mine was it was a mindset deal. I always held on to my big cases because I was scared if the lawyer left, they'd take them with them. So I'd have an associate work underneath me, but I signed everything. But when I finally made that breakthrough and said, shit, if they take it, they take it. We'll fight in court, whatever.
Right.
My income doubled within like 2 years. I mean, doubled
Wow.
because I could really focus on taking the business to the next level. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Yeah.
like I told this lawyer today, I said, listen, it really depends on what you want. I said, if you're one of these technicians and really all you want to do is practice law, then you don't need to hire an associate. You need to hire somebody that's going to run the practice and market it and grow it for you. I said, but if you want to be part of the deal of helping it grow, then you need to work 15, 20 hours a week on growing your practice. Then you need to hire an associate. I mean, I can't remember how many cases he had. I said, but no, you're ready for it now. I said, and really, you ought to be the one growing your business because it's going to be your voice and it's going to be what you want. And, but I said, but it's whatever you want. You got to, it's like you said, these women, they're starting to practice because they want to create a law firm that works for them instead of them working for it, and where they got flexibility. And I think that's the whole key. I mean, I hadn't worked for anybody since college, and I just don't want to work for nobody. I mean, I'm not a good employee. and I know that.
Yeah.
I'm just
That's
not
what I
interested.
said. If I had to put a resume out now and look for a job and somebody looked at that, they'd be like, oh, she hasn't worked for anybody in so long. She probably doesn't play well with others. Like there's that
Yeah,
entrepreneur mindset where we're gonna, we're just for us, we're creators, I think. I think when you're an entrepreneur and the more you do it, the longer you realize that I can make more money working for myself and also have more freedom working for myself
freedom's
than
more
I
important than
can,
money.
then you get addicted to that. And you're just like, if I just get another client, I've solved my problem. If anybody ever gets to a point where you're like, don't feel like you're making enough money, you look at, oh, okay, I could go and put out a resume and do all these interviews, but doesn't that sound awful, right? Whereas I could just go do some marketing, get another client. Why would I do that, right? So I do think there's definitely that mindset. And I think some people just want to be, they want to be lawyers and they just want to be the technicians, like you said, in their business. You can still have a business and do that, but you have to hire people to help you do that. It doesn't mean you have to stop being a lawyer if you want to grow your own firm. I mean, you probably make more, like you said, you make more money if you do, because you grow your firm and you hire other lawyers. But if you love being a lawyer, and you have your own firm, you can still work. But I think there's going to come a time. I think you and I are people who've had long careers, and there comes a time when you change and what you used to want is no longer what you want. And I think that's the beauty of having a business that is sustainable and profitable without your day-to-day involvement in the operations of it, because then you have the luxury of doing other things and pursuing other passions, right?
Yeah, yeah. Everybody's definition of success is different. I mean, like my definition I've come up with now in my life is a lot different than it was when I was in my 30s. I can promise you. In the 30s, it was all about the money. Okay. Now it's not even got anything to do with the money, and it's easier to say once you made the money. I know people say, "Well, yeah, you made the money, so shit, you can do that." But I hadn't made it yet. But I understand that. But my deal is now is doing what I want to do, when I want to do it, with whom I want to do it with. If I think somebody's a jackass, I kick them out of film. I kick them out as a coach. I'm not. I don't have to do it. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they were interviewing me. Before we got through, I was interviewing them. I said, "Listen, I'm old. I've lived. I know I'm in my last bit of my life, and I just have no time to put up with jackasses." I said, "And I'm not going to." I said, I said I can help you, but I'm not going to be. I'm just not going to deal with jackasses at this stage of my life.
Yeah, that's true freedom. That's true wealth, is when you can say no and when you can control how you spend your time and who you spend your time with, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. The hardest thing when I was starting to practice law, and I had people tell me this, and I still wouldn't take their advice. And I don't know if you see this in coaching, because I know you coach a lot of startups and things. It's the saying no to a client because you just know, there's going to be problems, or somehow you just
Yeah.
know. You got to be able to say no. But when you're young and you're starting out, you just, well, that's the money I can make, and I hate to turn that down because I need the money, I need the money, I need the money, and they got a credit card, or they got cash, or they got a check, and it's just hard, as you get
Yeah, it's
older.
tough. It's tempting because you think, well, maybe it's me, maybe it's not them, maybe I can work through it, or whatever.
Yeah,
I do think those are kind of important learning years for business owners of any kind, right? When you're starting out, learning it's like being in relationships, learning what you like and what you don't like, learning what you can deal with, what you can't deal with. We learn a lot about human nature that way. And I do think I see a lot of young attorneys sort of coming out with this attitude right out of the gate of, I'm worth a whole lot more. I raise my fees, I'm worth a whole lot more, and then they immediately, the first knee jerk reaction is to fire a client. And I always think to myself, what they could have learned had they worked through, because you gain a lot from making those mistakes. That's how we learn at where we are now, to be able to make choices and identify red flags. You learn about human nature that way, and you learn about what's something that is something that I can coach them through, right? Versus what is somebody that ain't no amount of coaching or therapy going to help them. Like we're just oil and water, it's just not going to work. Or
yeah,
they're looking for something that I can't provide. I mean, there's definitely that. You have people that come and what you're looking for, that's not what I do here. I'm not a therapist. And when I first started out coaching, it was difficult for me because I want to help people and I know a lot as somebody who is been in therapy myself was for years, like, and had gone through, coaching experiences. So I knew a lot, but then you learn very quickly too that those are boundaries. And it's the same thing with lawyers. Oftentimes we sort of get sucked into people's drama and we play the role of therapist, and really learning how to establish those boundaries, that's a learning curve, and learning to say, what are my boundaries and how do I set those expectations right at the beginning so I'm not now dealing with a big blow up 6 months into the thing, right? You know, Great advice to
Yeah.
start looking at
So
those
tell
red
me
flags.
about I want to know more about your business. I mean, we've had a great conversation, but I want to know more about your business, and I want our listeners and viewers to know you
So
primarily work with women lawyers. Is that
I
correct?
do. I do. I have had male law firm owners that I've worked with. By the fact, I have one client now who is a man. But what happened was is I started out working with. I was trying to figure out who I wanted to serve, and I had had years of experience working in professional service businesses. So I started out serving professional service businesses, but I just realized that, as they say, the riches are in the niches.
Yep.
So I really made the decision I thought my marketing and my message would be much more powerful if I made it more laser focused. And
Come on.
a lot of my clients were other women law firm owners because they heard my story and that resonated with them. And so I really just decided to focus my brand on women law firm owners. I also feel like that, like I said, I wish I had had this for me when I was starting out. So that's what I created. I do, my business is Wealthy Woman Lawyer LLC. I have a podcast of the same name, Wealthy Woman Lawyer, and that's a tool for me and in my business and growing my business. And also has given me just a great opportunity to have wonderful conversations with people. But my business started out doing strategy for people and then develop it into, private coaching, one-on-one coaching. And I really have a passion for one-on-one coaching because I enjoy it so much. I have relationships with clients that have lasted multiple years, and that's very rewarding for me. And it's rewarding to be a part of their journey and see what they have done. And to know that I played a part in that is very rewarding. But when it comes to scaling my business, it's not the best model for scaling. So part of what I did a year or so ago was I developed a program called the Wealthy Woman Lawyer League. And that program is a group coaching program that has where I teach my framework. There's a course in it where I actually teach my framework for scaling your business. And I've added more courses to that community. And it is a community of women law firm owners who might not be ready yet for the one-on-one coaching, because you really kind of have to be a certain level to make that investment of time, money, energy, all of that. So it's really, I wanted to help those women lawyers who weren't yet ready for that one-on-one coaching experience, but they really needed some help and some guidance. And I wanted to make that at a price point that would work for them. I wanted to make that something that would be very accessible and also give them community of like-minded women law firm owners who are going through the experience. So we meet weekly. As a matter of fact, I just got off a call with my group. I have other coaches who help me in that program, but I'm continually developing that program and making it richer and richer as time goes on, because I want to have a bigger impact, and I want to provide more support for more people, because I recognize that not everybody has wrapped their mind around what a one-on-one coaching experience is like. But I still hang on to the one-on-one coaching because it's personally rewarding for me. I enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
So that's really how my system is set up. And I'm helping women law firm owners really learn how to scale their business to whatever level they want to scale it to. And I have clients that have gone beyond the $1 million, they're into $2 and $5 million and those kinds of things. But you have different needs at different levels. And I want to make sure there's a net there for my clients and the people in my community, so that they know that they can turn to me and other coaches and other people in the community and really get the support they need. so that they don't spend a lot of time trying to figure out the how of everything, right?
I think what you're doing is wonderful.
Thank
So if
you.
somebody's interested, how can they how can they get in contact with you?
So the best way is to visit wealthywomanlawyer.com, and that's my website. There's a lot of information there. And if you're on social media, at Wealthy Woman Lawyer on Instagram, my Instagram is pretty active. I made the shift. I've been on Facebook since 2007. I love Facebook because I love conversation and talking. But over the last few years, I've become a little bit, less enamored with it and a little tired of it. So I wanted to play around in a different playing field. So I'm on Instagram a little bit more. I also have been doing a lot more on LinkedIn, so people can connect with me on LinkedIn, Davina Frederick or Wealthy Woman Lawyer. You can follow the business page there. We're just now growing the business page there. I also encourage you just to listen to the podcast. I think a lot of people enjoy. I bring on people like yourself. Your wife came on. She was one of my guests on the podcast. At one point, we had a great conversation, and so I bring on experts. I also bring on other women law firm owners. And I think that has really resonated with a lot of people because you get to hear how other people's journeys have unfolded. And I think that makes people feel normal,
Yeah.
because oftentimes we're in our fishbowl and we think we're the only one who doesn't know what's going on. And then you hear other people's journeys and you're like, oh man, they went through that craziness too, so
Yeah.
that the Wealthy Woman Lawyer podcast has been a great place for me to have those conversations. I've really enjoyed it. And I think other people have told me they really enjoy it. So
Thank you so much for being our guest
thank
and
you.
imparting the knowledge. And listen, I hope to see you again. We'll get you. I want to talk to you about maybe speaking at one of our events in the near
I
future.
love that.
All
I'd love
right.
that. Thank you. Thank
All
you. I've
right.
really enjoyed it. I appreciate you inviting me. I've been looking forward to it. It's been on my calendar for a few weeks now. So I really appreciate you having me here, Ken. It's really nice meeting you.
You too. All right. Until next time, this is Ken Hardison, dedicated to your success.
You have been listening to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, the podcast that leads lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Go to growyourlawfirm.com to find more ways to market and manage your law firm. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts.